Hey guys, what's up? Hope everybody's having a good day out there today, and thanks for tuning back in. Much appreciated. And today I'm going to give you guys a sort of a seminar and show you my favorite fall drop shot bait. And yes, I do throw a drop shot. Everybody seems to think I just throw jerk baits and flip all the time, but drop shot is one of my favorite techniques in the fall time of the year with this specific bait I'm going to show you guys here. Show you how to rig it, set it up, talk to you about how I like to fish it and where I like to fish it. But real quick, before we get started, just go over a couple of housekeeping tips here. Just want to remind everybody once again, please, if you got some time, go check out fishthemoment.com. Our new lake map breakdowns are out for the fall. Also, Johnny and I have our bass camp on November 6th. You guys can sign up for here in Springfield, Missouri. It's going to be an 8-hour seminar. Johnny and I are going to teach jointly on there. It's going to be a good time. And also, some of the baits I talk about today, I'll include the Baitworks link, and you can order these baits if you like. If you use that link, it's a good way to help support the channel here. Also, the video I did on the X Nanahan 75, a lot of people have been getting them there at Baitworks. They still got a few left. If you guys are interested in getting the remaining stock there, just go to the Baitworks link included in the description here, and you can get some of those. This Nanahan, guys, I'm telling you, this is like live bait to the bass. I can't wait to see how it produces in December coming up here. So it's already producing now. So anyway, let's get into the drop shot deal here. A lot of different drop shots out there, guys. Drop shot baits out there. Every company's got one. I'm sure you guys, if you follow bass fishing much, all you hear about is the Berkley Flat Max worm. Yeah, the Flat Max worm catches bass, and it's good on smallmouth, but there's a lot of other baits that catch them just as good, and I'm going to show you one of them here. So anyway, I'll just get right to it. This is the Zoom Z-Drop worm right here. This bait's about 3.5 inches long. It's got a flat side, as you can see on the bottom there. A real natural shell looking like this. Very simple looking worm. Guys, there's something about this worm in the fall time of the year that I have just been hammering the last 2 seasons on it. Specifically when you start getting into October, and specifically beyond that is when those bass are starting to get suspended. If you have a lake that has water visibility of over 3 feet, specifically water visibility more in that 4 to 6 foot zone, and you've got a lake that's got somewhat of a mixed species, largemouth, spotted bass, smallmouth, whatever mix that could be, this is just a killer deal that I'm going to sort of go over with you guys right now. And this can be in lakes a lot of different lakes in the country like this. You got Lake Lanier in Georgia, you got all the eastern Tennessee lakes, Kentucky, the lakes like Cumberland, Kentucky, Lake Cherokee, all the Ozark lakes, the lakes out west, desert lakes. It just works all over the place. But there's something about this. This is a lot different. I mean, a lot of guys use like the robo worms for drop shot, and they work good, and they have a little bit of a flat side, but they're more. But this is, like I said, the shape of this worm is a lot more unique than most of them out there. It's just, there's something about it that on suspended bass, I catch more bass on this thing when they're suspended than any other drop shot bait that I have. So there's 3 different ways I want to show you that I rig this thing based upon what I'm fishing, the type of cover. If I'm fishing just open water, for suspended bass, I go with a fairly small, just a Gamakatsu drop shot hook, hooked in the traditional sense like this. The time that I fish it like this is if I'm fishing open water. It can even be above treetops, but where those bass are suspended over some type of clean open water structure. They could be on main lake points, main lakes, the sides and the ends of the points, suspended out over deep water, suspended over trees. They could be suspended down on deep docks. But anytime that I'm not worried about getting snagged, this is how I like to rig it. I feel that this right here is probably one of the best ways that you can hook the bass on there, specifically spotted bass, that works really good. Now, if you've got sort of a marginal type cover, say you've got some stuff out there may be some tree limbs a little bit, but you're still vertical on it and it's not real gnarly, thick type stuff. The next way I like to hook is I take the same drop shot hook and I come in about 1/8 of an inch straight into the worm, and I bring the worm straight, the hook straight like this to make it weedless. I'm gonna show you guys what it looks like here. See, I'm just hooking it just like that. Where the hook is actually almost, the hook point is just barely almost coming out of the end of the worm there, if you can see it. Like right there, the hook point is right at that point where it just almost sticking out there. And what this does is this allows you to still have the drop shot hook, but it's weedless like this. And when you set the hook, you know, that hook will come right through there like that and hook the fish. This is one of my favorite ways to fish it too if I'm around any type of wood. Now, the next way I fish it, and the final way I do, is if I'm fishing it around like deeper brush piles, places that are really snaggy, or standing timber that's pretty snaggy, maybe an area that's got lots of rocks, is I do a straight Texas rig. I'm using a 1/0 straight shank Gamakatsu light wire hook. And I'm going to show you one trick on it, guys, here. What you need to do is you come through just in the traditional sense like that. But then you want to just skin hook this. Let me show you here. It's hard to set that angle. Skin hook it on the side. See how I got that on there? It's just barely skin hooked on the side. And what this does is when that fish hits that and the fish gets in its mouth, is it simply breaks away from the side of that worm real easy. If you try to put it straight in the worm like that, like a traditional Texas rig, you've got a lot of plastic to penetrate there. And I'm usually using 6-pound test line in deep water, and you'll lose a lot of fish like that. So just try, you know, in your Texas rig, and it just barely skin hook it in the side like that. You know, that's and you'll never miss them like that. It's a really good way to hook it. Most of the time on this thing, you know, I'm using probably 3/16 to 1/4 ounce cylinder type drop shot weight. I prefer the cylinder weights. I think they come through cover a little bit better. But try it this fall, guys. Get you some of those Zoom Z-drop worms. You can order them through the Baitworks link I've got here. And the thing that I would recommend, there's 2 different patterns that I would try. If your lake has standing timber, get in the major creeks off the lake, on the lower end of the lake where you got clear water. Go into those major creeks and idle down the middle of the coves in those creeks. And if you're fishing a lot of different lakes across the country, Table Rock, Lake Lanier, you know, Cumberland, that type of stuff that has standing or submerged timber in it, those bass will suspend in the middle of those coves off those creeks. And you can simply, you know, idle through there, try to find the treetops that are in anywhere between 25 to 40 foot of water, and simply, you know, throw that Z-drop worm vertical in that standing timber. You can do the same thing on main lake and secondary points. Get out off the end of those points, graph where the drop is, usually get in anywhere between 25 to 50 foot of water, graph around those point ends and sides, look for those schools of bait fish and the fish themselves, and drop that Z-drop worm vertical on them. And it's just a great way to catch them in the fall time of the year. So that usually works for me. It usually starts working right around the end of September. It seems like when that water temperature first starts to drop a little bit in the fall, like right now, we haven't really had any major fronts, so the water temperatures are still in the low 80s. But once that water temperature starts consistently falling into the 70s, into the upper 60s, like towards October, that's when those fish will really group out and suspend in those areas that I talked about. So give it a try, guys. Zoom Z-drop worm, my favorite fall drop shot worm by far. I can promise you they'll bite it. So thanks for tuning in, much appreciated. Please hit that subscribe button if you haven't, and like that video, much be appreciated. And we'll see you back tomorrow. Take it easy.